wish this was bigger.
Hello, I think I'm live. Yes, I am live. This is Liz from Liza Jane Designs in Afton, Minnesota. If I've done this right, I'm coming to you live on the Iron Orchid Designs page, the Liza Jane Designs page, and my YouTube channel. So you see that I've been working on stuff. You can tell by my awful looking fingernails. That's gray paint, not dirt. But I'm coming to you today from my brand new location, still in Afton, Minnesota, the Afton Creative Arts Center. You can kind of see the building behind me, and my daughter is helping me with today's video. We're going to be working with both the new Seed Catalog and the not as new Ephemeral Melange transfer, and do kind of a gallery wall and explore different options for getting different looks with the same materials in these same transfers. So I'll start with some basics here, though. I'm in Afton, Minnesota, which is in the St. Croix River Valley, just east of Minneapolis, St. Paul. If I happen to be your local stockist, I hope you'll come see me in this new location. Hello, Lee P. Good to have you on board. If you do not have a local stockist yet, or you're in other parts of the country, please check the Iron Orchid Designs website or Facebook page. The website will take you to a list of stockists all over the country. You can look by geographic area and find someone close to you so you can establish a relationship and go see them or work with them online. But I'm going to show you a couple of finished products here, projects. This from the new Seed Catalog. And what I'm working with as my substrate is just plywood. I've stained on the back. I stained the frame on this. So it's a faux frame, right? That is very inexpensive. You just mask off, and we'll show some of that today. We're going to mask off and do the painted on frame, definitely the most economical. And here's another example also from the Seed Catalog using, I just glued on these pieces. These are, we're recording outside and there's a lot of motorcycles going by, so excuse the background noise. But these, I made frames for this out of their garden stakes or tree stakes that you get at the nursery. You get a pack of, they're about this long. You can get a pack of 5 or 6 of them for about $5 or $6. So they're like $1 a stake, and you can cut them into pieces. If you want to get fancy, you could do 45-degree angles or keep it very rustic like this, and then just stain the sides of your plywood to kind of match. And I think it makes a very cool rustic looking frame. So enough chatter. Let me switch over to my daughter's camera here, and she's going to take it from here. I've got things in various states of completion. So right now we're going to work on this guy, which yesterday, I started with a plain piece of plywood. These are all cut to different sizes, and I kind of figured out ahead of time what sizes would work well, and I'll write something up about that and put it in the Creative Tribe as a reference. But I cut them to different sizes and then chose my image. We're focusing like right here.
Okay, come over this way.
Chose my image and painted the background. Because this image has kind of blues and greens back here, I used those to, hello there.
Oh, I just see the sign. It's closed.
We open at 11. It's 10, a little after 10. So I'll be open at 11. It's nice to have customers stop by. Okay, where was I here? I painted some blues and greens, and we'll do a little phase on that, and on how to blend those colors to get just a more interesting background. And then I sealed this guy with some top coat. Yes, Stardust Soul. I also love the rustic frame, and the fact that when all is said and done, it probably only cost about $1 to put together. So we're going to position this Maze Seed Catalog, which has a special place in my heart because it is from St. Paul, Minnesota. This particular image and seed company. I'm going to grab out my stick, and because this is sealed yesterday, this should be dry enough to easily take on this image. So I am just transferring this sweet girl. I think this image came from Ephemeral Melange. There is a bigger one of the same girl and same flowers. There's a larger image of this in the new Seed Catalog. So we are just, see how that's coming off very nicely? Can you catch that, Stace? How it's, and I attribute that to the superiority of Iron Orchid Designs transfers and the fact that I painted and sealed and let this dry overnight, which is ideal. What I've learned in working with transfers and talking with people who work with transfers is that
I feel like you should have like a GoPro on, like just like this.
Okay, is that transfers like dry, slick surfaces the best. So if I put one on and I haven't allowed my paint or my sealer to dry long enough, it might go on nicely, but later I can have trouble with peeling up and that kind of thing. So there it is. It's all up there. It's all on here. This is my daughter is my GoPro today. It's so nice to have someone to help me. Stacy, say hi. Say hi to the nice people, Stacy.
Hi, nice people.
There's Stacy. Okay, so there it is. It's on there. I mean, all by itself, it's pretty sweet, I think. But we're gonna add a frame around that somehow. I'm gonna set her aside. We're gonna start from scratch on this guy. So what I did, let me kind of show you something if I can find it here. I did a lot of sort of figuring out of sizes, and I can't find my cheat sheet here. So I guess I won't share that with you right now. But basically, I figured out for the size image, a 4x6 image. I think this is about a 7.5 by 9-inch board that will allow me to center this and take these great plant stakes again that are so, they look like old barnwood to me. They look like tobacco sticks. They have ready-made character. And I cut them to size. So this is what I plan to put on here as my frame. And I'm just going to glue that on later with Tight Bond Thick and Quick, my favorite wood glue for these projects. And we're going to get that nice simple frame around this image, leaving enough area for a mat. So that took me a little figuring because my brain doesn't always work super fast. To get the right sizes, to leave a nice mat, to have the framing possibilities. So now we've got this image, Stace. We have strawberries, blackberries, cherries. I like the way, whoops, on these images, I kind of made the background sort of rustic. So we're going to do the same kind of thing on here. Little GoPro over my head. We're going to just squirt some yellowish paint, kind of a golden yellow, a little other yellow.
You know, you get what you pay for, Mom.
This GoPro, oh, believe me, I have paid plenty for this GoPro. There's nothing more precious or expensive in the world than well-loved children. So I'm just going to sort of blend these together and get a rusticy kind of, I'd say dirty, but in a good way. Dirty.
It's like mustard.
This is mustardy. And I'll see, am I going to like that? Maybe. There's a little pink in here or red. So I'm just, I'll add a little water to make that blend better. And kind of blending these colors together, leaving patches of lighter and darker. And I'm going to take a little bit of, just a tiny bit of red and put that on here in some spots, which I will then dilute down with some white because I don't want it real red. So we're kind of put some more white and just, it's a little bit too pinky for me. So we're going to add some kind of a tan and just, this is how I do it, guys. I just kind of put down some paints that I'm inspired by the background. I put those on and blend them around and get what I think is going to be a good background for the image I plan to transfer. Now I've covered up too much of the yellow. I would like a little more pink. I'm so fickle that way. And what's great is, you know, these paints are just forgiving. And I'm using a clay-based, chalk-based paint. It's what I paint furniture with, and I use it for all sorts of projects. I'm going to grab paper towels and just wipe some of this back to get the look that I want. So I've got spots of, it's hard to see the light here, but we're seeing some pink, some yellow. Bring the yellow back out by wiping off some of the beigey stuff that I put on top. I'm going to grab a clean, dry brush and just sort of smooth that out. And I tell you what, I like that. It's not, you know, it's not a showstopper. We don't want it to be a showstopper. We want it to be a nice background where the image is going to be the focal point. While we're at this, I have a little bit of just a penetrating stain, just, you know, from the five and dime. That's not true. It's from the Home Depot store, from the big box. And I'm going to use my paper towel and stain the edges because this guy is going to get those plant sticks as its frame. So I know that, so I want to put this on, and I'm doing it now purposely so that I can make a little bit of a mess along the edge. Whoops, look at that. And I'm going to blend that into the paint to give it more of a distressed look as well. So here is me in a very sophisticated way, right, Stace?
Right.
Applying. Hello, Shannon. It's been a while. I'm putting that on. I should be wearing gloves, of course, but I left those inside the shop. I am on purpose, like I said, spilling a little of this stain over onto the surface because I am a fan of very rustic, very vintage, very, what would you call it, Stace? I don't like I don't like pristine, new, crisp.
No.
I like old character, and if it doesn't have it already, we build it in, right? So I'm getting some of that stain all around and I'm basically making a mess. Oops. And I got it on my new t-shirt that I just got at Target. Beautiful candy lipstick red t-shirt that now I'm going to have to go back and get another one that doesn't have stain on it. So I'm just going to use some water and I'm going to blend some of that. So this is how I do my backgrounds for the transfers when I want them to have a rough and rustic kind of look. And I'm going to set this aside to dry. So this guy will dry. These are stained so that when we put this on, it's a better look than just raw plywood right there. So there's that. We'll set those aside, that one aside to dry, and we're going to move on to a different kind of a frame style. And Stacy's also going to be my vacuum cleaner, picking up all the things I'm dropping. At the same time, she's my GoPro. I got this guy. It's a Minnetonka, Minnesota's great seedling apple. We're going to go with this and some painter's tape. I want to confess something to you guys. Do you see? I see, you may not right now, that the margin here is bigger than the one here. So I'm going to
see it this way. Maybe there's a better. Well, that's not much
so
better.
I didn't center it. It's not terrible, but I'm going to do something now to try to make it look a little better. So what I'm going to do is use this blue masking tape to put a mat around this. And I'm going to put this one right up to this edge. Right there. And I am going to same here, put it right up to the edge. I need a nice straight piece of tape here to make a crisp edge on that. So this will make a very crisp little mat around our center image. But because this guy didn't have as much of a, or maybe I did that the wrong way. I did do that the wrong way. I'm going to put this right up to the edge.
How'd you do it the wrong way?
I'll show you what I mean here. I'm going to put a straight piece around there. What I'm trying to do is cheat it just a little bit so the framed turns out to be about the right size and it's not wonky. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and take the one, this is like this big, this one is wider. So I'm just going to move this out like 1/8 of an inch. All right. And put it there where now the frames will be the same size because I cheated that little bit that I was off. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
Do you guys see? Hi, T. So that is also something I've learned in my years of creativity. And it's like, we're not perfect. We shouldn't even want to try to be perfect because we're human and we're outside and bugs come on our projects. The little things add character. They really do. And perfection is way overrated. I know when I see other people's work, it is the quirky little special things about their work that make me love it. So I think it's harder for us to extend that same grace to ourselves. We're always kind of thinking we ought to be perfect or we got to get it right. And you know what? We don't. We just need to do our best, do it with a kind of happiness and joy, and I honestly believe that that shows up in our work. So I'm coming right up to the edge on here, and I'm going to use scissors if I see
They're
where
right
I
there by your computer.
put them. Here they are. To cut this straight, nice crisp straight edge.
Excuse me.
An X-Acto knife would be nice, but I'm not perfect, and I left those inside. So we're just going to use what we have. We're going to use the scissors and cut that straight. And there, that little bit right there helps me to bring this back to a better place, right? I'm going to stain the frame. I'm going to use a brush instead of the paper towel.
Just take it easy on the splashing.
Take it easy on the splashing. Can we see pretty well? I'm going to just dip this brush. And because stain is very watery, I'm going to come away from the tape. I don't want to push it under the tape. I want it to not get under that tape. Make sure it's down as best as I can get it and come away from the tape. We have a cloudy day here today, so I hope the shadows are not too distracting for your viewing pleasure. If you guys are watching, I see there's quite a few people watching. Only a couple have said hello. It would be great if you'd say hello and let us know where you're watching from. This Saturday morning is going to be my new time on the IOD page. I thought it would get me in gear and into a nice creative space by doing a video an hour before my shop is scheduled to open. It gets me out of the house on time. It gets me moving here in Afton. I get a little creative time of my own doing this video while the town is still pretty quiet and peaceful. We live, there's only one road through our town that goes all the way through. It's called the St. Croix Trail, and it runs all along the St. Croix River, which separates, you get a geography lesson here too, which separates Wisconsin and Minnesota in the most beautiful river valley.
Here, while you're painting that, because they can still hear you, right?
I don't know, because my thing is on that.
Oh.
You're walking away with my microphone. Hello, Pat and Shirley. We've got Texas and St. Paul Park. Hiya, Katie. Pat from Northern Indiana and Shirley from Texas. I'm thinking it's warm where I'm sitting, but I bet it's a lot warmer where you are, Shirley. So what happens later in the day here is this beautiful St. Croix Trail that runs along the river. It's a favorite of motorcyclists in the area, and it gets pretty loud. They have a river run at least once a summer. There's all sorts of activity that way. So this guy's done for now. I'm not going to take the tape off until it's more securely dry, I guess. So this is another way, right, to get a frame around you've got plywood, you've got it painted, you put on your image. This is a way to get it framed. Setting that aside to dry. And I'm going to come back to this one that we just painted. I'm going to do something that we don't recommend, but we're going to see if it works out because we're on camera here. The thing we don't recommend is just going on paint that's been, freshly applied. The ideal situation would be to, what time is it? I want to make sure I cover all my bases here.
You've been live for
25 minutes. Okay, so this is dry. It would be best if I sealed it and then let that dry, but ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that today. So I'm going to see if this will transfer. This isn't the best, you guys. I want you to remember that best practice says let it dry thoroughly, put on a top coat, let that dry thoroughly, and then put on your transfer. But we're live. We're going to take our chances. I'm going to put this beautiful image on top of here and grab my transfer stick and see if I can get it to come off. And you see it's, there we go. It's not coming off quite as easily if I had completely sealed my board. Transfers like slick, dry surfaces. You can hear some of those motorcycles, can't you? Okay. Yep, that doesn't want to come off. We're going to keep at it though. There we go. So we're just going to rub that right onto this surface. Stacy, I'm going to hold this a minute. Would you go inside and on the island next to the checkout counter, I think there's some Tight Bond Thick and Quick. Could you bring that out? And if you don't see it there, there's a supply of it on the shelf. So I am holding the camera. I'm my own GoPro right now and rubbing this. So it might be a little bit wiggly here while Stacy gets the glue. Here we come in a little bit. We're going to come in a lot. I want you to notice, if you've been watching me a while, that the one that was properly sealed came off in a way better fashion. So many reasons to do it the right way. You're going to have a better product in the long run. You won't have lifting that you could get from applying this to paint that hasn't cured. But I'm making the sacrifice for the sake of live video that we're going to get this on here. So where are? Sure is. It sure is hot. I bet it is. Hey, Kathleen Doherty from Donegal, Ireland. On the corner, not by the fridge. The new ones are on in this corner right here. Right, that corner. There's 2 bottles of it for sale. What? Thick and Quick. Tight Bond Thick and Quick. It's a gray bottle. I might have to get up and go find that Tight Bond. So hang tight, you guys. Okay, we're gonna let Stacy be. Okay, Stace, you're back. You're big. There's you. Okay, so we're back to this guy, and see, we're still rubbing because this paint was not 100% ready to receive this image. So this is an object lesson in. Can you hear me now, Pat? We lost sound. Can you hear now? Yes. All right. Excellent. I know this isn't like fascinating to watch someone rub off transfer, but like I said, we'll use this as an object lesson in why it is important to seal and do things the right way. I want to show you what's happening here. We're going to call this the lesson for today for this one. Look at this. It peeled up that paint because it wasn't properly cured. So my image is not good. I'll fix that later. I will probably use another image, or I'll do something to fix that. But for now, I want to just move on to the framing part. So we have an image that, because the paint was not thoroughly cured, is not sticking super well. So I'm going to rub it with my sheet and get it down as best I can. I'll deal with that part later. But for now, I want you to see these garden stakes. Like I said, I think I bought these at like a big box stores, a big box home improvement stores garden center for about $6 for 5 of them. And I can make more than one frame. So I cut them to size. I'm fortunate enough to have a miter saw. You can cut them with any kind of saw or get someone to cut them for you. I sell them in my shop too as a. And we're dead again. There, we're back. So there it is. There's the frame. We're just going to use the Titebond Thick and Quick. I usually have clamps to apply that. Is this opened inside? Yes, it is. Okay. So we're going to put this on. It's thick. Doesn't want to come out right now. I'm going to. The mic keeps shutting off. Yakima, Washington. Hello.
Your browser has lost connection to your mic. Make sure no other apps are using the camera. Refresh it.
Can you refresh?
Nope.
So you guys can't hear again. Is that right? Lost sound. Someone called. Unmute that mic.
It just mutes back up again.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Because
look,
I turned the mic on to the from the computer, so the phone isn't working. You know, when I decided to do all this creative stuff, I didn't know I'd also have to become a tech wizard. I'm a long way away from being a wizard, but we're learning, right, Stacy?
Slowly but surely.
Shirley is still watching. Shirley, I think she's from Texas. So we're just Titebond Thick and Quick. This isn't a, the fancy way of making a frame would involve a router and all sorts of stuff like that. I've tried those things and too much work for me. So this is how I like to just make a rustic frame, is to cut some rustic looking wood, in this case those garden stakes, and I just glue it right to the front. It frames it out. I'll clean up that glue in a minute.
Oh, because it's mirrored, it's kind of like backing up a trailer. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just, you're going to make people seasick, dear, if you keep wiggling like that. Again, ideally, I would clamp this down just with some cute little wood clamps. And it would set up very quickly. And by tomorrow, I could put a hanger on it and stick it on the wall in my home. So this is what I've got. A little bit of a mess because I'm going fast. We're going to clean up that tight bond. Clean it up along the edges.
Shirley says she makes hers the same way. Her frames, I'm sorry.
Shirley, you jest. Sorry. No, that's great, Shirley. I tried for a long time just to kind of do it the right way. And then I examined other people's work that I liked in shops and stores. And, you know, it's like that thing about expecting ourselves to be perfect, but we like other people's stuff. And I looked at what they were doing and I'm like, they haven't used a router. They haven't made this all perfect. It's rustic and it's made with what's on hand. And I love that about it. So then I gave myself permission to lighten up and do it that way myself. So cleaning up that glue, and there that is. Despite the fact that the image isn't perfect, because I didn't let the paint dry long enough, I think that is a very cute wall hanging. It looks really old. It looks like it came out of some Little House on the Prairie house.
It belonged to my great-grandmother.
It belonged to Stacy's great-grandmother in Donegal, Ireland, I believe. So I will stain the back later and put a hook on there, and we'll be able to hang that on the wall. We have been live now for 37 minutes. I want to just, what are we going to do here? We're still letting that dry. I have one more. What happened? I have one more way to frame these out. Again, you know, the basics of this. This is a, I think 13, no, this is like a 11 by 9-inch board. Good size for this image. I painted this one in a very neutral color. And it's my plan for this to use these scraps of wood to make a frame the same way we did with those plant stakes. You don't have to watch that whole thing. We'll just kind of show you what it will look like. And
Can you
again,
face it this way?
yeah, these are, they're scraps of framing trim. I like to go to the cull lumber section at Home Depot, but I'm sure other shops have that, where they sell wood that's left over or not perfect, and they sell it for 70% off the regular price. When you find those deals, I pick them up, I cut away what's really, really bad, or I just work it into the design of the rustic thing I'm doing. Do you see the sticks that I cut at a 45-degree angle? Oh, here they are. So these same trim pieces, we can get fancier, right? And do the 45-degree angle. This one's too big for this. And now we look super fancy, right? I think I cut this for this one.
Geometry.
So always biting off more than I can chew. I thought we would get to more of these today, but basically, you know, same process. 13.5 by about 9 is perfect for this big size. Is the sound bad again, you guys? Hi, Laura. Okay, so this same process, right? And then we have this trim that has been cut to 45-degree angle. And when we get that on there the right way, we've got a very, I think, professional looking frame around that guy.
Shirley said she can hear the sound.
Okay, Shirley can hear. Laura, I'm very sorry if the sound is still acting up for you. So we've got different framing. That's my point here, you guys. We take these same images on plywood and paint on the frames or glue on garden stakes. Use wood trim around them, and you get such a nice variety of options for framing that your gallery wall will not look like you sat down in one setting and made them all, because they'll have a lot of variety. I want to go back to this one that we put the stain on, and I'm going to pull this tape and hope it's pretty clean under there. That's looking pretty good. So we left a mat, if you will, right? So it's like it's matted and framed. A little bit of leakage under there. I can touch that up with some paint if I want to. When things like that bother me, what I do is I leave them for about a day and I see if it still bothers me the next day, and then I fix it. Because right when I do it, I'm very picky. And I'm like, I don't know, that looks not very good. It leaked a little bit, but I can take some of these same paint colors and touch that up after it's good and dry. Like I said, if it still bothers me tomorrow. So before we sign off, what I would like to do is just, you know, kind of show you the few that we've done here. We got this one. I'm going to go, can I go back to me as big? I'm not sure if I should. Let's just do this. Let's line them up on the table. So we have this guy that will still need a frame. And again, we have used the images from Seed Catalog, the newer of the floral images. We have used Seed Catalog, and we pulled some from the older Ephemeral Melange. We've used plywood to mount them, and then we've got a variety of ways, painted colors in the background, doing a mat around here. I think that makes quite a lovely gallery wall for a kitchen or dining room or wherever. Yeah, can you kind of scan across them a little, and
Oh gosh,
maybe you can see what's. So that one has the garden stakes. This one was painted with stain. I will probably paint a blue or maybe a red frame around that one. We have another garden stake frame on here. And this is painted with more of like this one in here. We just went right up to the image. This one, we used painter's tape to make a mat. It looks like it's a mat, a print inside a mat with a frame. That's it. That's what I got, you guys. I'm going to switch over back to me and say goodbye. I want to thank you.
oh my gosh.
There's all my paints. I want to thank you for joining me. Stacy, come say goodbye to these.
I don't know. Bye, fine folks.
Oh, Becky, that's a great idea. Um, Thank you, Shirley. I hope you'll catch me again as well. I plan to be here every Saturday at 10 o'clock Central Time, right before I open my shop. So it's like I got to come here anyway. I'm gonna make it a thing that I will be here Saturday mornings, 10 o'clock Central, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, and you guys can probably figure out the mountain time, right? Thank you very, very much for joining me. Please, if you have questions, if you're watching on replay, I will be coming back and looking at the questions. I totally appreciate you being here for me uh, and catching these. If you make any, post them in the tribe. I'm going to post pictures of these finished ones. I'll put them on my wall and post a picture of my gallery wall using these images. And let me know if you have any questions. Just ask in the tribe, ask wherever. Again, I'm Liz from Liza Jane Designs in Afton, Minnesota. I invite you to come see me here or find your own local stockist through the stockist locator on the IOD page. And Carolyn, I'm so glad you found some inspiration here. That's what we're all about, is creating and providing inspiration, and making the world a little bit better, kinder place, one project at a time, right? So I love you guys. I'm so glad you joined me, and I'll see you next week if you can make it. Bye.